On Tuesday, March 22nd at 8 o'clock at Eckhart Hall at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, Winnipeg's GroundSwell will present the Bozzini String Quartet. Specializing in experimental classical music, this award-winning Canadian string quartet has performed all over the world and has mesmerized audiences with their interpretations of new music for string quartet. On the 22nd, the quartet will feature works by composers with Prairie Connections, music by Chris W., Tanya Tagak, Jim Hiscott, Nicole Lizet, and Alyssa Chung will be performed. There will be 3 brand new works performed on this concert by the phenomenal Bozzini Quartet. Joining me here over Zoom, I am joined by the curator of this concert, Jim Hiscott. Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Great. Good to see you again, Chris.
Yeah, great to see you. Okay, so this 2021-2022 season, GroundSwell has been celebrating 30 years and showcasing the best in new music here in Winnipeg. How has the season been so far? Has GroundSwell had to make adjustments due to the whole COVID and Omicron thing?
Yes, although we've been able to do quite a lot actually. In the fall, we had 2 live concerts, and we've been having all kinds of other events. This year, we were meant to have 30 events to celebrate our 30th anniversary, and so the first 2 concerts were live, and this concert will be the 3rd live concert, and actually, it's the first live concert with performers from outside of the province since February of 2020. So it's going to a major event for us having the Bozzini Quartet here.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and so we've also had a number of what we call learn education outreach events, online events, and we're broadcasting our concerts after the fact online. And so we've also got a mini curation series, which is going ahead, and the videos for the first 2 concerts are up online. And so, we've been able to do quite a lot. So Omicron has caused a little bit of disruption. We had to cancel some education outreach events. And the live concert season has slightly changed. Standing Wave and Ensemble Telemaque have been moved to next season. And the David Behrman Clique Schrey concert is happening in May instead of March. But Bozzini's in the same time slot, and we're really happy to have them here.
Nice.
We still have a number of GroundSwell events coming up this season, the Learn and Linked events, and online, and et cetera, including the WSO Sistema program, Winnipeg Classical Guitar Society, mini curations, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. You're the curator for this concert. Was it you who decided to bring the Bozzini Quartet to Winnipeg? And can you talk about the quartet and how you became familiar with them?
Yes, it was my interest. I've been really interested in the Bozzini Quartet for a long time, and so it was my idea to bring them to Winnipeg. I think I first saw them in the early 2000s, a long time ago, in Montreal. And they've just been an exceptional quartet from the very beginning. And so I've seen them several times over the last couple of decades, meeting them at conferences and festivals. A major one was I was involved in presenting the World Music Days in Vancouver in 2017, and the Bozzini Quartet was there, and they gave an excellent concert. And it was very interesting. They over the years they've continued to expand their repertoire, expand the aesthetics of the music that they play, which is just amazing. They're just so open to everything. Mm. And sound is the main thing that is one of the main things that they try to achieve, across many different styles. So based on the concert in Vancouver, there was a number of pieces, and I was interested maybe some of them could be in a concert in Winnipeg. But I continued to talk to them, and gradually evolved from there. But I've known them for a long time, and they're great people. We see them often.
That's great. There are 5 works to be performed on the program on the 22nd. Did you pick the composers whose works would be performed, or was it sort of a more collaborative thing with the Bozzini Quartet?
It's a mixture of both. Starting out, we wanted to have a couple of works by Manitoba composers, and Chris W. is one of them. I had heard a number of pieces by Alyssa Chung, who's their is one of their violinists, and I was hoping that they would, we could have maybe a commission for her. And then when I mentioned it to them, they said, "Oh, isn't that funny? We've just commissioned her to write a new piece ourselves." And so, it's like we were both thinking along the same lines, so it's great. So her piece is in there. Um,
Mhm.
and in passing, I was looking for to listen to different, new uses of strings and extended techniques, and they mentioned this piece that they had heard by Tanya Tagaq. Um, and then I listened to it online on the Kronos website, and I thought, well, that'd be a really great piece to have. And then lo and behold, they were going to do that anyway. So another serendipitous, thing that happened. And there was a couple of other pieces we were talking about, some from the concert in Vancouver, et cetera, et cetera. But then they have this new piece from Nicole Izay, and so that was their idea, and it's great. I'm really excited about that. It's always great to hear a new piece by Nicole.
Absolutely. Can you, speaking of the composers in the program, can you briefly talk about those composers? They're all very often, most of them are related to the Prairie, with the exception of Tanya Tagaq, although I believe she's now in Brandon. Is that right?
Um,
Um,
no,
can you,
no, Tanya was in Brandon for a while. She's now, I believe, on the West Coast, but
okay.
and moving between Toronto and West Coast. But for a while, she was associated with Brandon, so that's been a little while now.
Can you talk just briefly about their compositional style? Just from what you've heard of their compositions?
Well, we can start with I've heard a few pieces of Chris W. So with the Winnipeg Symphony, and also a number of pieces with electronics. So she sort of mixes some of the electronics aesthetic with, and the orchestra pieces are gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to this new piece. Nicole Izay's pieces are great. I mean, I hope some members of the audience have heard those. They're very rhythmic and fun, and very mixtures of techniques and tonality and dissonance, um, and that I'm sure that piece is going to be really interesting. Um, Tanya Tagaq mostly composes for herself, performing, and based on throat singing, her own throat singing, and she has a style where she basically uh, performs with herself, with sometimes different tracks and that kind of thing.
Right.
And she also performs with other musicians. In this particular piece, it's very interesting. She recorded a overdubbed a throat song with two different voices, and it made a sound of a vocal version, which has been arranged by Jacob Garchik for the string quartet. So, and that's going to be really in the spirit of the throat singing tradition. And Alyssa Chung has I've heard a variety of her pieces which are somewhat different, but she has a lot of there's it's quite wonderful sounds and images, and um, this particular piece evokes birds and nature, and based on Riopelle paintings. And so and being a member of the quartet, she's also very interested in sound. So there's a lot of really just, you can just sink into the string sound in her pieces.
Right. It sounds fantastic. Um, I know, and you've alluded to this already. I know one of the things that Groundswell is very often known for is having multimedia aspects to the concert. There's not only just the musicians on stage. There's very often video or electroacoustic tape or whatnot. Nicole Izay is on the program. And whenever I think of Nicole Izay, I always think of, these multimedia effects. Is there going to be any of that on this upcoming concert?
Yeah, actually, I really love Nicole Izay's videos. There's no video in this piece. This is just a string quartet, straight string quartet, which will still be great.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
So this is going to be an acoustic concert um, without other media.
Mhm. Um, I got sent the program early for the concert, and I was reading the descriptions of the pieces. And one of the sort of common threads between four of the five pieces is this idea of nature. Was that just coincidence, or or was that planned?
Um, I think it could have been partly coincidence. Because we were looking at different styles and trying to have different types of aesthetics. And it turned out, I mean, when I was interested in, we were interested in Lissa Chung writing a piece, I didn't know what she was going to write about. And so it turned out to be about birds and about geese and, flying patterns and things like that.
Right.
Um, and Chris W.'s piece is um, based on a sculpture called Court and Poppies. And it just happens that it kind of juxtaposes a natural environment with a kind of a steel painted steel sculpture of poppies. So it kind of includes nature, and it doesn't. And you can actually go online and see this piece, Court and Poppies, to get to get into the what's going to happen with this piece.
Right.
And she wrote a poem about it, so it's really kind of going to be
Mhm.
quite interesting. And
And then there's your piece. Talk about your piece.
well, it's called Skin. And a number of my pieces recently, I've really been interested in closeness, about lines being close and intersecting and overlapping, and you know, close harmonies and that kind of thing. So, and also interlocking patterns, which come, from minimal music. Also comes from an interest in Indonesian music and various other influences. And so, also, I'm interested in relationship between tonal, kind of modal harmonies and dissonant harmonies. And so all those things are, can have metaphors in nature. And the metaphor here is skin, which is the person's skin, and how it kind of separates. I mean, it has this role of being the kind of the border between the outside world and the inner world. And also, it's also about things which are kind of close together at the skin of a person. So I
Uh,
suppose that's like nature too. Tanya Tagak's piece is called "The Future Ones," and it's throat singing is really has a lot of roots in natural sounds of animals and nature, and
right.
she's putting that together, and she's really wanting to preserve the influences of the natural world for the future generations, mostly of Inuit young people, and so that also really includes nature a lot. Nicole Zay's piece, I don't know. I mean, when you read the program note, it sounds like a pretty imaginative, crazy sort of space. Labyrinthine mazes,
Well, it's
riddle,
my
dreaming.
under, my understanding is it's going to be used for a documentary about the Bozzini Quartet. Is that right?
Right. It says a forthcoming television series. So, portrayal of the Quatuor Bozzini in a retro-futurist universe. So there's
It's
some there's nature involved in there somewhere.
yeah. Knowing Nicole, it's going to be always entertaining and just a great piece. Jim, I'm going to wrap the conversation up this way. Where can people go to get tickets for the concert on the 22nd? And are there any COVID protocols that they need to keep in mind if they're going to attend the concert in person?
Okay, Chris, thanks for that question. I wanted to mention, first of all, that the
Oh,
tickets are pay what you can
okay.
and how you can. So, you have a range of, if you don't, nothing, or pay more, or so that's what it is. We've been operating on that all year this year.
Mhm.
And you can buy tickets online through GroundSwell or at the door. Um, and there'll be no credit card or cash transactions at the door, but if you have a QR code or check, cash, but I guess no transactions, so perhaps that might involve avoiding any sort of change giving, etc. Um, and in terms of COVID protocols, the WAG, we've checked with the WAG, and they are encouraging mask wearing, and so we will encourage mask wearing. Um, Apart from that, that's all we know at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And the concert's at 8, of course, but there's a cash bar at 7.
Oh, wow.
at the WAG.
Mhm.
And the space is in the Eckhart Hall, which is the kind of the atrium of, and so it's a big, tall, wide space. I mean, a string quartet is going to sound beautiful
Yeah.
in there. And it's a sideways orientation, so you're going to be able to, everyone's going to have really good sight lines to see the quartet. You'll be nice and close, but, they'll still be distancing. I think the WAG is still looking for kind of distancing, so the chairs will
Right.
be spread out a little bit. There's also a sound walk at 7:15 with Andrea Ratuski, and that's weather permitting. And of course, with our weather these days, who knows
Yeah.
what's going to be permitted? But this is one of our education and outreach events for the season.
Uh,
That
it,
could be exciting too.
it sounds great. And yeah, for those listeners who have not been to the Grand Matais Hall at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, it's a phenomenal, phenomenal space. Yeah, it should be a great concert.
Right, and they usually have paintings that just happen to be hung there at the time, and it just creates a beautiful environment.
I saw a performance of the Quartet for the End of Time there, not
Hmm.
in that hall, but like on another floor of the gallery. And it was perfect. It was a perfect concert experience. Jim, the concert sounds just fantastic. And I have to say, it has just been so great to talk about Groundswell again. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me today. The concert on the 22nd at 8 o'clock at the Winnipeg Art Gallery sounds like it's just going to be phenomenal. Thanks
Okay,
again.
thank you too, Chris. It's lovely to be talking to you again and to be on 107.